Welcome to University Synagogue. We've been a beacon of light, radiating our warmth and our history from Brentwood for over 70 years. We're a congregation that has always had open doors to the community, and we'd love for you to be a part of it as you bring your family's heritage into our people's destiny and future.
Hi and welcome to In the Chair. I'm Brenton Garen, your executive editor of Westside Today. I'm joined by Rick Cole, who is Santa Monica's brand new city manager. Rick, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Brenton.
Well, as you said, Santa Monica is a very evolving, changing place right now. What sort of short-term challenges do you see, and how do you think some of them could be addressed?
Sure. There are a number of them, probably more in Santa Monica for a city of 92,000 than you'll find in most Southern California cities, in fact, practically any of them. So, obviously, the adoption of the zoning code was one that we've now sort of moved past, but now there are going to be a number of projects that are going to come forward, and there's a wide range of opinions and emotions about those projects. So that's going to come up in the next several months. The airport issue is front and center. We have, with July 1st, 2015, the expiration of the 1984 agreement. So what that means and how quickly we'll be able to make changes at the airport is going to be fought out in the courts, and it's going to be fought out in Congress, and it's already being fought out at the council chambers as people step forward and say, well, why can't you just shut the airport down right today? Not realistic, but understand the passion given the impacts that it has on the surrounding community. The Expo line, which I mentioned before, is coming next spring, and there are going to be some significant negative impacts. There are going to be some profoundly positive impacts, and we can actually capitalize on making them even better. But there's going to be an accident, and people are going to say, oh, how come this is unsafe, right? But you know, there are car accidents and there are train accidents. That's you want to minimize them, but that's going to happen. There are going to be more trains going east and west, and that's going to make it harder to go north and south in this city, and we're already impacted by traffic. So, and there are going to be more people in a part of our city where there are already a lot of people, especially during the summer. So next summer, there's going to be a tremendous number of people. So we have to be prepared to mitigate some of those predictable negative consequences of the train coming, and we have to be able to get people to be familiar with actually utilizing this. This is going to be a great new asset for people, particularly young people, to get around, and people who and older people as well. So there's a lot of things that are going to be coming up. And then, of course, it's Santa Monica, so things like figuring out how we deal with the regulation of medical marijuana dispensaries, I mean, that's going to come. So there'll be plenty to do. But I'm trying to be strategic, because the city manager of the city is the chief executive officer. So I'm going to try to focus not just on what's coming up this month, this week, this year, but over the next 3 to 5 years. Because things like the Expo line, that's probably 15 or 20 years in the making. Huge, big thing. We need to be thinking about what are the big things we need to be doing as a city that'll pay off for us in 5 years and 10 years in increased quality of life for our residents and an increased standard of living for our residents.
Well, let's talk about a couple of those issues that you just mentioned. I guess one of the biggest is development. Some people may say it's a dirty word. People don't want more people coming and more traffic. How would you say the city's evolved the last couple of years in terms of the amount of what's been approved, particularly the multi-use developments?
Well, certainly in a healthy economy, this is going to be an issue that's going to have more salience than in a down economy, right? You can almost predict it, and by the way, Santa Monica is not alone. Almost every community in Southern California, as demand has come back, we're still a growing, evolving world city, and people, despite all the gloom and doom of 4 or 5 years ago, people actually are excited about the Los Angeles region. They're particularly excited about Santa Monica. It's a very attractive community because of the positive things that have happened over the last few years. People want to come because we have good schools, we have good parks, we have the ocean, we have good weather, and we have a healthy economy. So it's natural that people are going to be concerned. and it's natural given the level of traffic in our community and some of the other impacts of years of development here and in Los Angeles surrounding us, that people are going to be concerned. I'm going to try to focus less on the abstract question of how much growth, which can get very emotional. Like, no more growth because we're out of water, or we need growth because we need jobs and we need to improve the quality of life. I'd like to talk about the quality of growth, and I'd like to talk about the location of growth. I think most Santa Monicans would agree that putting growth here is better than putting growth there. Now, they might not all agree, and the here and there might be some differences of opinion. But growth, a 10-story building in one place is a much better idea than a 10-story building in a different place. So we get sometimes focused in on heights and issues like that. Let's pick where we want to see growth, where it'll actually enhance the community as it stands. And then let's also talk about the quality, right? Are we producing affordable housing? Are we producing local jobs? Are we producing tax revenue that will allow us to improve our libraries and improve our parks and improve the schools? Or are we simply improving the bottom line of the developer? So, and then are we bringing the kind of growth that fits in with the vision that people have of Santa Monica, the city that they have lived in, want to live in for their future? I think those are important questions that haven't been asked of developers and of the community sharply enough, which is not how much as much as it is where do we want to see positive growth, and where don't we want to see any kind of growth, or at least any kind of growth out of scale with the surroundings. And then again, what are the qualities? How does the building meet the street? These are important issues that got neglected in the 70s and the 80s, and even more recently.
So following on from that, like, how would you describe your leadership style when it comes to department heads and city staff, and sort of how do you think you're going to approach this? Because there's been things done away because that's how they're done. How do you think you're going to address that?
I think I bring a focus on two things that you can that I really view as bookends, and you can see them as two different things, but I really think they fit together. One is accountability, which all by itself sounds punitive, but it really means, look, you have a job, you're well paid in that job, you serve the public, we're expecting high standards and productive results. That's accountability, and I think we ought to accept that here in Santa Monica, because we are well compensated, and the people here really care about the work they do. I've just found that tremendously true in the 2.5 weeks that I've been able to be around and talking with frontline workers, police officers, traffic enforcement officers, etc. The other piece of though is empowerment, right? If we expect people to produce high quality results, we've got to let them do their jobs. And that means we don't micromanage them. I don't micromanage them. The council doesn't micromanage them. We have to set parameters. That doesn't mean people are out of control. That's where the accountability piece comes in. But let's allow people to be creative. Let's allow them to be innovative. Let's allow them to think about new and different and better ways of doing things. And let's encourage that kind of behavior. So to me, you can pretty much sum up the way I manage with those two words. Let's make people accountable, hold them accountable for producing results, but let's empower them because they really care about their job, and let's trust them to do a good job, and then let's check up to make sure using accountability.
And finally, what are you most excited for being here in Santa Monica full-time?
Well, aside from sitting in this chair and doing this interview, I think the most significant thing that I'm excited about is that Santa Monica already is a model community. It's a community that people are very proud of, and justifiably so. So in one sense, I'm a steward for all of this generation and previous generations' hard work to bring Santa Monica to where it is today. Some neighborhoods once were gang-ridden, now have really blossomed. A downtown that once you could roll a bowling ball down 3rd Street and not hit anyone, and now you can barely walk on a Saturday in the summer. So there's a lot to be safeguarded. Our pier, our beaches, it's wonderful assets that's my job to protect. And then there's also the opportunity to continue to set the bar higher. How do we train our police in this time when there's a national conversation about use of force and police accountability? How does the Santa Monica Police Department be a model for police departments across the country? How does our well-being project, which is funded by Bloomberg to be a measure of how we improve the quality of life for our residents, how do we really make that part of the way we do business? Now that we're not, our fire department spends more than 80% of its calls going to medical emergencies, not to fires. How do we become the very best at promoting community health? Those are great opportunities to build on what's already great and to make Santa Monica, the motto in Latin on the seal translates into English, happy people in a happy city. That's a great goal to shoot for. Sometimes people are grumpy because this or that doesn't agree with them, but I think if you look around, we have a lot to be happy about, and it's our challenge now to leave that even better for the next generation.
That's for sure. Well, Rick, we appreciate you coming in to be in the chair.
Great.
And we look forward to seeing and hearing a lot more of you in the future.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks. We'll be back next week, so don't forget to check out westsidetoday.com to see who's in the chair. I'm Brenton Garen.